There comes a moment when the self you show the world begins to feel like a haunted costume. Not false exactly, not fake in the simple sense. Something more sorrowful than that. It is the version of you that learned how to survive. The careful face, the gentle voice, the agreeable posture, the smile that arrives before you have checked whether you mean it. It is the laugh you learned to give when the room needed lightness, the apology that appears before anyone has accused you, the softness in your voice when you are angry, the brightness in your face when you are tired, the instinct to make yourself understandable before you have even asked what you feel. For a long time it worked. It kept you close to people. It kept the room calm. It made you readable, acceptable, easier to love. It helped you pass through doors that might otherwise have closed. It gave you a way to survive the weather of other people's moods. But now, in some private hour after the performance, you sit alone with the costume in your lap and realize it is heavier than it used to be. The applause is gone. The lights are cooling. The mirror is still bright around its edges, but the face inside it looks strangely distant, as if it belongs to someone you have spent years impersonating. You know how to be this person. You know how to enter a room as them. You know how to answer messages as them. You know how to perform warmth, competence, strength, patience, humor, grace. You know the gestures. You know the timing. You know the lines. You are no longer sure how to be yourself. Taking the mask off does not feel like freedom at first. It feels like not knowing who is left. This is why persona collapse can be so frightening. It is not simply the loss of an image. It is the loss of a shelter you once mistook for home. The mask was not only decoration, it was protection. A child once stood in the wings and learned the rules. What earned warmth, what invited anger, what made people withdraw, what made love feel available again, what could be said plainly, and what had to be hidden behind good behavior. So the child became careful. They studied faces. They softened their needs. They anticipated moods before anyone spoke. They learned which version of themselves made the room safer. They became useful, pleasant, impressive, quiet, entertaining, agreeable, invisible in exactly the right ways. That was not vanity. That was survival. The mask was a loyal shield. It only became a prison later. Most of us do not build a persona because we want to deceive the world. We build it because some part of us learnt that truth was expensive, too needy, too angry, too strange, too intense, too sensitive, too inconvenient, too much. So we edited ourselves down into something easier to receive. We learnt to make our sorrow elegant, our anger reasonable, our hunger indirect, our longing decorative. We became fluent in translation, turning the raw language of the soul into something polite enough to be heard. We mistook acceptability for safety. We mistook being praised for being known. And for a while, the mistake was convincing. The danger of a successful mask is that it starts to look like your face. People respond to it. They reward it. They invite it back. They say, "This is who you are." They praise your patience, your strength, your kindness, your calm, your reliability. They build their expectations around the version of you that costs them the least. And because being loved is powerful, you begin to believe them. You begin to think this is your nature, not a strategy, not a compromise, not a role constructed under pressure. Your nature. You forget that the costume was fitted under duress. You forget there was ever a body beneath it. Estrangement from your own persona happens slowly. It rarely arrives as one clean revelation. It arrives as fatigue, irritation, numbness, a strange lack of appetite for the life that once felt safe. You keep doing what you have always done, but the old gestures begin to feel rehearsed. The laugh comes a second too late. The kindness feels less like generosity and more like obligation. The peace you maintain starts to feel like a room with no air. You answer messages, but something in you resents being available. You say yes, but your body tightens. You smile, but the smile no longer reaches the place it used to come from. You attend gatherings and say the right things, yet leave feeling oddly untouched, as if you were present only as a representative of yourself. Nothing dramatic has happened, and yet something in you has stopped believing the role. This disbelief is quiet at first, almost embarrassing. You may not even call it a crisis. You may call it tiredness, burnout, moodiness, aging, cynicism, a bad week, a strange season. But underneath it is a deeper refusal. Some part of you has outgrown the arrangement. The life that once kept you safe has become too small to breathe in. You can be liked by everyone and known by no one. That is one of the loneliest forms of success. People may praise the version of you that never trembles, never disagrees, never asks for too much. They may call it maturity. They may call it kindness. They may call it being easy to love. But what they love is often your absence. The version of you that does not disturb them. The version that does not need anything. The version that knows how to make the room comfortable, even when something inside you is quietly disappearing. Eventually, applause starts to sound like proof that no one has seen you at all. The performance may be admired, but admiration is not the same as intimacy. You may be invited everywhere and still feel unvisited. You may have friends and still feel unknown. You may be praised for your warmth and still wonder who would stay if your warmth failed, if your patience ended, if your needs arrived without apology. There is a particular loneliness in being loved for the role. It is not the loneliness of abandonment. It is more confusing than that. People are there. They care. They may even love you, sincerely, within the limits of what they have been given. But the part of you that most needs to be met remains backstage, and the audience keeps applauding the costume. The body always knows when a life has become too small. It knows before the mind can explain it. Your jaw tightens, your shoulders rise, your breath gets shallow, you wake tired, though nothing obvious has happened. You drag yourself through routines that once gave you structure. Food loses flavor. Rest stops restoring you. Pleasure begins to feel like another task. The body is not being difficult. It is refusing to keep translating your soul into obedience. The mask is not only on your face, it is in your muscles, your posture, your tone, your reflex to apologize, your ability to sense disappointment before it is spoken, your habit of making yourself smaller before anyone has asked you to move. The role lives in the nervous system. That is why simply deciding to be authentic is rarely enough. The body has been performing for years. It needs time to remember that the stage is not the whole world. You may notice this most clearly in moments of supposed rest. When nothing is required of you, you still feel braced. When the room is quiet, you still listen for danger. When someone is kind, you still wonder what it will cost. When you are alone, you may not relax, because the audience has moved inside you. You become both performer and watcher. One part of you tries to live, another part monitors the performance. Was that too much? Was that selfish? Did I sound cold? Did I disappoint them? Have I become difficult? Should I explain? Should I soften it? Should I make myself understandable before anyone has the chance to misunderstand? This is exhaustion at the level of identity, not tiredness from doing too much, but tiredness from being too carefully arranged. When the mask begins to suffocate, many people try to improve it. They polish the persona, they learn better habits, they become calmer, kinder, more productive, more spiritual. They read books about confidence, boundaries, healing, discipline, self-worth. Some of this may help, but self-improvement can become self-erasure with better branding. The same bargain remains underneath. Maybe if I become acceptable enough, I will finally feel safe. Maybe if I become disciplined enough, no one can criticize me. Maybe if I become calm enough, no one can call me dramatic. Maybe if I become spiritual enough, I will not have to feel anger. Maybe if I become useful enough, no one will leave. But approval cannot cure exile. It only decorates the distance between you and yourself. There is a form of self-improvement that never asks what you lost. It only asks how the mask can be made more efficient, a better routine, a cleaner tone, a more attractive body, a more impressive career, a calmer nervous system, a more marketable authenticity. Even healing can become another audition, another way of asking the world, am I acceptable now? But the soul does not want to be optimized into obedience. It wants to be met. This is the hidden grief behind many lives that look functional from the outside. The structure remains, but the meaning has gone. You answer messages, meet deadlines, smile at gatherings, keep the house running, do the sensible thing, fulfill the role. To others, nothing has changed. Inside, the theater is empty. The set is still standing, but the story no longer moves. This is not laziness. It is not ingratitude. It is not a failure of discipline. It is the soul asking a question the persona cannot answer. Is this really my life, or only the life that made me acceptable? This question can feel dangerous because it threatens arrangements that once seemed holy. The friendships built around your compliance, the family peace built around your silence, the identity built around being good, strong, easy, helpful, needed, the future you chose because it made sense to everyone else. When the question rises, it does not politely stay in the mind. It enters the body. It becomes restlessness, heaviness, irritation, a lump in the throat, a refusal to sleep, a refusal to wake, a hunger with no object, a grief with no clear event. The soul does not always announce itself with clarity. Sometimes it announces itself by making the old life unbearable. Peace built on disappearance is not peace. It is managed erasure. Everyone is calm because you swallowed the conflict. Everyone feels safe because you abandoned your own needs. The room stays pleasant because you agreed not to exist too loudly inside it. That kind of harmony has a hidden violence. It asks you to vanish politely. For a long time, you may have called this goodness. You may have believed that being good meant being undemanding. That kindness meant never causing discomfort. That love meant adapting endlessly to the shape of other people's limits. You may have learnt to spiritualize your own disappearance, to call it compassion when it was fear, to call it forgiveness when it was avoidance, to call it patience when it was self-abandonment, to call it peace when it was the silence left after your truth had been removed from the room. But goodness that requires your disappearance cannot last. The good person begins to collapse when goodness stops meaning silence, and this collapse can feel like moral failure. You may wonder if you are becoming selfish, harsh, cold, ungrateful, difficult, but sometimes the soul's first movement towards truth is mistaken for betrayal by the people who benefited from your absence. When you stop disappearing, the room has to rearrange itself. Not everyone will welcome that. Wholeness can make you inconvenient. It can change the temperature of old relationships. Invitations may fade. Certain people may become confused or irritated when you stop playing the role that kept them comfortable. They may miss the old you, and part of you may miss them missing you. There is grief in that. Not all liberation feels triumphant. Some of it feels like sitting at the edge of an old life, mourning the warmth you received for being less than yourself. You may grieve the approval, the familiarity, the sense of being needed, the reliable script, the way certain people relaxed when you made yourself smaller. You may grieve the old belonging, even if it was built on absence. The pain is real, but so is the relief. You are no longer paying for belonging with your own disappearance. There is no honest rebirth without mourning. The old mask must be honored, not merely hated. It carried you through weather you could not name. It kept you alive inside rooms where your full self felt unsafe. It helped you pass as acceptable when being unacceptable felt like exile. To tear it off in contempt is to misunderstand its service, but to keep wearing it forever is to betray the life it protected. The mask did its work. Now it must be allowed to retire. Some personas are not only personal, they are inherited. You may have been carrying a role your family could not name. The responsible one, the calm one, the difficult one, the gifted one, the broken one, the peacekeeper, the scapegoat, the one who absorbs the weather so nobody else has to admit there is a storm. A family can hand you a costume before you are old enough to know it is not your skin. You learn to carry grief that is not yours, anger that was forbidden, shame that belonged somewhere else, silence older than your own life. Over time, pain becomes identity. You forget where you end and the burden begins. To lay it down can feel like treachery. Because the role did not only protect you, it protected the family story. If you stop being the difficult one, someone may have to ask what made truth so unwelcome. If you stop being the responsible one, someone may have to notice who refused responsibility. If you stop being the calm one, someone may have to feel the panic that has been stored in the walls for years. A family system often calls the returning self selfish because the returning self disturbs the mythology. But you are not only what you carried for others. You are allowed to be more than the wound you inherited. You are allowed to stop mistaking assigned pain for destiny. The first cracks in the persona often appear as small refusals, a message you do not answer immediately, a request you no longer rush to fulfill, a conversation where your smile fails to arrive on command, a flash of irritation that surprises you with its heat. At first, this may frighten you. You may think something is going wrong, but honest anger is often the first true thing the body says after years of politeness. Anger is not always destruction. Sometimes it is the last surviving witness to a boundary that was never protected. It says, something mattered here. It says, I was not made only to comply. It says, no more. For years, you may have treated anger as evidence that you were failing spiritually. You may have tried to rise above it, explain it away, convert it into compassion before it had a chance to speak. You may have called yourself petty for feeling hurt, dramatic for needing space, cruel for wanting honesty. But anger is not the opposite of love. Sometimes it is love returning to the self. It is the body drawing a line around what still has value. It is the flame that says, this life is mine too. Of course, the mask will fight back. The more threatened it feels, the more controlling it becomes. You may rehearse every word before speaking, monitor every expression, worry over every change in tone, try to be authentic in exactly the right way, so nobody feels too disturbed by your honesty. Even your freedom becomes another performance. That is how deep the training goes. The persona does not disappear the moment you see through it. It tightens, it bargains, it promises safety if you will only return to the old script. It says, be reasonable. It says, do not make things awkward. It says, you are overreacting. It says, you will lose them. It says, you do not know who you are without me. And part of you believes it, because the mask did protect you once. That is what makes it so hard to leave. The old role cannot hold what you have become. There comes a point when the costume does not simply feel uncomfortable, it becomes impossible. The seams dig in, the fabric catches at the throat, the old lines sound false in your mouth, the gestures that once looked graceful now feel mechanical, the smile, once effortless, becomes labor. You may try to repair the costume, to become more patient, more grateful, more forgiving, more disciplined, more positive, more detached. But some things cannot be repaired because they were never meant to contain the next version of you. The discomfort is not proof that you have failed, it is proof that you have grown. This is the true dark night of the soul, not always a dramatic collapse into darkness. More often, it is the strange silence between selves. You are no longer convinced by the old story, but the new one has not yet arrived. The person you performed is fading. The person you are becoming is still shy, still unformed, still learning how to breathe without permission. This interval can feel like emptiness, but emptiness is not always absence. Sometimes it is the cleared room left by an old self. The stage is bare because something false has been removed. The silence is frightening because it is honest. For the first time in years, there is space. This is why ego death rarely feels like enlightenment while it is happening. It feels like bewilderment. It feels like the narrator inside you has lost authority. The old explanations no longer persuade you. The story you told about who you are, what you want, why you endure, what makes you worthy, begins to loosen. You may not know what you believe. You may not know what you want. You may not know what kind of life would feel true. This does not mean nothing is happening. It means the false certainty is dying before the deeper truth has learnt to speak. Numbness may come here, not because you are broken, but because the body is wise enough not to feel everything at once. Numbness is not emptiness. It is the body standing guard over pain you are not ready to touch. It is a vigil, a pause, a quiet mercy. The part of you that went numb was not abandoning life. It was buying time. It was saying, not yet, not all at once. Let me thaw at the speed of safety. This is important because many people meet their numbness with shame. They accuse themselves of being cold, dead, ungrateful, blocked, broken. They try to force feeling back into the body like light into a locked room, but numbness often has its own intelligence. It knows the grief is large. It knows the anger is old. It knows the longing has been buried for years. It knows that to feel everything at once might undo the fragile structure that still lets you function. Numbness is not the enemy of healing. Sometimes it is the last kindness before the thaw. Beneath the numbness, the shadow waits, not as evil, not as some monstrous opposite of goodness. The shadow is the archive of your forbidden aliveness. Every desire you exiled to remain acceptable is stored there. Every no you swallowed, every joy you dismissed as impractical, every anger you spiritualized away, every hunger you buried because it made you feel exposed. The shadow is not only where pain lives, it is where your life force went when it had nowhere safe to go. To return to shadow is not to fall. It is to come home to the parts of yourself that never stopped calling your name. The shadow may first appear as envy. You see someone speak freely, choose boldly, disappoint others, take up space, create without apology, and something in you burns. The persona may call this bitterness. But envy often points to exiled life. It shows you where desire has been forbidden. It reveals the part of you that still wants something. It reminds you that the soul has not gone silent. It has simply been speaking in indirect ways. Underneath envy, there may be grief. Underneath grief, there may be longing. Underneath longing, there may be a door. The unlived life does not disappear. It waits. It gathers strength in the dark. At first, it may return as restlessness, then as envy, then as longing, then as a strange pull towards things you cannot justify but cannot ignore. A different voice, a different rhythm, a different kind of honesty. You may feel drawn to old dreams, new desires, forgotten pleasures. The body may start asking for warmth again. Appetite may return slowly, almost shyly. The unlived life is not a threat. It is the part of you that still believes you can become real. This return can be frightening because it does not always look noble. It may come with anger, desire, mess, confusion, awkwardness, a refusal to keep performing wisdom before you have been allowed to feel pain. The returning self is not always graceful. It has been locked away too long to emerge perfectly composed. It may stumble into the light. It may speak too sharply. It may want too much at once. It may not know how to ask without shaking. That does not make it wrong. It makes it alive. This is where shame begins to soften into grief. Shame says, I failed to be what they needed. Grief says, I lost myself trying. Shame says, I am bad for wanting more. Grief says, I was hungry for years. Shame says, I should have known better. Grief says, I was doing what I had to do. Shame wants punishment. Grief wants witness. Shame keeps you trapped inside the costume, trying to repair what was never meant to fit forever. Grief lets you hold the old self with tenderness and say, you did what you had to do. The old self is not condemned. It is mourned. It protected you with the tools it had. It kept you alive inside rooms where truth felt dangerous. It helped you survive long enough to reach this threshold, but survival is not the same as identity. The self that survived is honored. It is not the final word. There is terror in imagining the end of your usefulness. If you are not pleasing, not needed, not impressive, not calm, not endlessly available, what remains? Will anyone stay? Will anyone love you without the role? This fear is not childish. It is ancient. For many of us, usefulness became the currency of belonging. We learned to earn our place through emotional labor, achievement, charm, obedience, sensitivity, sacrifice. To stop performing can feel like stepping into poverty. You no longer know what you are worth when you are not being spent. But your value was never the same as your usefulness. You were never meant to be loved only for the ways you disappear. This is hard to believe when disappearance has been rewarded for so long. If people praised your calm, you may fear your anger will make you monstrous. If people praised your strength, you may fear your vulnerability will make you worthless. If people praised your kindness, you may fear your boundaries will make you cruel. The mask does not only shape how others see you, it shapes what you believe you are allowed to become. The task is not to become useless. It is to discover that usefulness was never the foundation of your right to exist. Rebirth begins when you stop asking to be chosen by people who only recognize the role. Not because you no longer need love, you do, but because love that requires your absence is not love you can live inside. The shame of needing to be chosen begins to soften when you choose not to audition anymore. You stop entering every room as a question. Am I enough? Am I acceptable? Am I safe here? Will you keep me if I become real? Slowly, painfully, another question appears. Can I stay with myself even if someone else cannot? This is a frightening question because it asks you to become a home to yourself before the world has confirmed that you are welcome. It asks you to stop outsourcing your existence to the reactions of others. It asks you to feel the old terror of not being chosen and survive it without rushing back into costume. This is not independence in the cold, hardened sense. It is intimacy with your own life, the capacity to remain present with yourself when approval disappears, the capacity to say, I am still here. This is not a clean awakening. It is awkward, tender, uneven. You will still reach for the old mask. You will still perform when afraid. You will still confuse calm with disappearance, kindness with compliance, love with being chosen. But something has changed. You can feel the costume now. You know when it is tightening. You know when your yes has gone hollow. You know when your body is telling the truth. Your mouth has not yet dared to speak. That knowing is the beginning of return. You may find that authenticity first arrives as discomfort rather than confidence, a pause before agreeing, a sentence that comes out less polished than usual, a boundary that leaves you shaking afterwards, a truth you speak and immediately want to take back. This does not mean you are doing it wrong. It means the body is learning a new choreography. For years, it moved according to the music of approval. Now it is learning the rhythm of presence. Real calm only arrives after the ache of honesty, not before. A false calm says, "Nothing is wrong because I have buried the conflict." A real calm says, "Something hurt, something mattered, and I am still here." The difference is presence. Real peace includes your voice, your needs, your anger, your grief, your inconvenient aliveness. It does not require you to vanish in order for the room to stay beautiful. It allows the room to change because you are finally in it. This is why honest anger can be sacred, not because every expression of anger is wise, not because rage should rule the room, but because anger may be the first emotion that refuses the old bargain. It refuses to keep the peace by deleting the self. It refuses to call injury harmony. It refuses to let politeness become a coffin. Anger is not the final destination, but for the person who has lived as a pleasing ghost, it may be the doorway back into the body. Integration is not becoming perfect. It is becoming less divided. It is the moment your voice starts to sound less rehearsed, the moment your body warms, the moment appetite returns, the moment you speak without scanning the room for permission first. It may be small, a real no, a slower yes, a message left unanswered until you are ready, a hand placed on your own chest before you rush to soothe someone else, a sentence spoken plainly without making it prettier than it is. These are not minor things. They are the first movements of a life returning to itself. Do not underestimate the holiness of small refusals. A life does not always change through grand declarations. Sometimes it changes when you stop laughing at a joke that costs you something, when you admit that you are tired, when you let someone be disappointed without rushing to repair their image of you. Sometimes freedom begins with the body realizing it will not die if someone misunderstands you. Sometimes the soul returns through a single honest sentence. Sometimes the mask loosens because, for once, you do not tighten it. The silence between worlds is not a void. It is the place where a new self learns to speak. You do not need to rush to fill it. You do not need to replace the old persona with a shinier, more spiritual, more impressive identity. You do not need to turn healing into another audition. Stand in the quiet for a moment. Let the old costume lie where it is. Honor it. It carried you through weather you could not yet name. But do not mistake it for your face. The self beneath the mask may feel shy at first, ordinary, uncertain, less dazzling than the performance. That is all right. The real is often quieter than the role. It does not need applause to exist. This is why the haunted costume must eventually be put down with reverence, not thrown away in disgust, not worn forever in fear. Put down, folded perhaps, acknowledged, thanked for its service, released from the impossible task of being your life. The mask was never meant to become a soul. It was a temporary mercy, a shelter, a strategy, a bridge. But you were not born to live permanently on the bridge. At some point, you must cross. And crossing may not look heroic. It may look like weeping after a conversation where you finally told the truth. It may look like eating a proper meal after months of numbness. It may look like sleeping deeply because your body no longer has to rehearse every possible rejection. It may look like standing in a room without performing brightness. It may look ordinary from the outside, but inside, an entire false kingdom is ending. Inside, a life is being returned to its rightful owner. There will be people who do not understand this return. They may call it selfishness, instability, a phase, a crisis, a betrayal of who you used to be. But who you used to be was not always who you were. Sometimes it was who you had to become to stay loved. Let them grieve the role if they must. You can grieve it too, but do not confuse their grief with your guilt. Not every disappointment is evidence that you have done wrong. Sometimes disappointment is simply the sound an old arrangement makes when truth enters the room. The body knows when it is safe to return. It may begin quietly, a deeper breath, a sudden appetite, a softer face in the mirror, the desire to walk, to sing, to create, to speak, to rest, to touch the world without translating yourself first. Warmth returns in fragments. You may not become a new person overnight. More likely, you will become less absent by degrees, a little more here, a little more there, a little less apology, a little less theatre, a little more voice. The return is gradual because the exile was long. Let it be gradual. Let the soul arrive at the speed of trust. Today, sit alone somewhere quiet for 5 minutes. Remove one item you often wear for the world, a watch, a ring, a jacket, a piece of jewelry, even your shoes. Place it beside you. Notice the sensation of being slightly less arranged. Let your shoulders drop. Let your face soften. Ask yourself, gently, what part of me performs before I even know I am doing it? Do not force an answer. Just notice what remains when the performance pauses. The return to yourself begins there, not in drama, not in certainty, but in one honest breath after the applause has gone. Integration feels like appetite, warmth, and the freedom to speak without rehearsal, not all at once, not perfectly, but enough to know that something real is coming back. The haunted costume may still hang nearby. You may still reach for it on frightened days. That is all right. Healing is not the instant destruction of the old role. It is the growing ability to notice when you are putting it on. Then, one day, perhaps quietly, you will enter a room and feel no need to become someone else before you belong there. You will speak, and your voice will not feel stolen. You will rest, and your body will believe it is allowed. You will disappoint someone, and the world will not end. You will be loved by fewer illusions and more truth. The silence between worlds is not a void, but the ground where a new self learns to speak. A single figure leaves the theatre at dawn, the night's performance finished at last. There is grave tenderness in this moment, the honouring of what was, the welcoming of what might be. The old lights fade behind you. The air outside is cold and clean. You do not know every step from here, but you are no longer trapped inside the role. The new self steps into the world, uncertain but real, carrying the wisdom of the darkness and the hope of the light. This is how the next act begins. Thank you for watching and for walking this path alongside me. If you would like to support the channel, please like and subscribe. For high-resolution art, music, and full transcripts, consider joining me on Patreon. Until then, carry these reflections gently with you, and I hope to see you again in the next video.